Hey guys, for today's episode of Interview Chats, I'm interviewing Paul Twyman. Paul is an amazing hand balancer. He is a huge advocate for daily practice, and that is what our conversation is around. Another thing that I would like to mention is that this video is not the quality that I would like it to be as far as the actual video quality goes. I'm still working on kind of sorting out all the bugs as far as the Skype call interviews go, so I hope that you can understand all of it, and I hope that it is of value to you. So enjoy, guys, and thank you, Paul. I really enjoyed this conversation. Paul Twyman, it's an honor to be having a chat with you. I've been following you for months now, and you're a major inspiration for my daily practice, so welcome.
Thank you.
The reason why I really wanted to have you on here and chat with you is because you're obviously a massive advocate for daily practice, using the handstand 365 and one-armed handstand 365 hashtags and just practicing every single day. That's like what you do and what you're known for. So I would love just to hear like why did you start that?
Okay, well, going back, 2013 is when I first started the handstand 365.
Yeah.
I saw somebody else doing it on Instagram, and it was all around. I had this dream of this one-arm handstand that I wanted.
Yeah.
And I assumed if I practiced daily, I would get this one-arm handstand, in 1 month. 4 weeks later, I was expecting to have this amazing one-arm handstand just by practicing daily. So I started taking pictures every day of just a two-arm handstand.
Yep.
And quickly finding out that obviously it needs a lot more work than just one photo per day to get a one-arm handstand.
Yeah.
But it sent me on this journey of exploring, how do you train for bodyweight movements, and it was always driven by the handstands, but that took me down, and I found Ido Portal very quickly.
Yeah.
That was that time where he was just starting to become quite big and tour around doing the workshops and stuff. And it just so happened that he was in Australia like a couple of months later.
Yeah.
So I booked onto that workshop, and that's when it took me down this journey into the bodyweight movements.
That must have been really cool. That must have been a cool experience.
Yeah. So I done the workshop with him. And obviously I started then watching his videos of his handstands and the bodyweight stuff, and I thought this was it. I'd been a personal trainer since 2000. I first qualified as a trainer, so 17 years ago now, back in the UK. But I started with the traditional, bench press and bodybuilding style training that everybody done.
Yeah.
But quickly got bored with that. I was working with clients in that way. I started working with Paul Check. I don't know if you know Paul Check.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I pulled away from the traditional weight type training, the bench press and that type of thing. I went down the functional movement. I think everyone sort of tended to go down that path. And I steered towards the corrective exercise stuff as well with Paul Check. So I started training some bodyweight movements, but it was more like started to look into kettlebells and the TRX and that type of thing.
Yep. And how did you find that changed? Like, how did that that gave you more clarity then?
Yeah, it was like I was trying to get the clients that I was attracting. Weren't getting what they wanted from the bench press and that type of thing. So that opened up this new era of exercises and ideas, and I thought this was it. This is what I'd been looking for in terms of training.
Yeah.
But still, the handstands and things were always at the back of my mind. I wanted to play with, and I've always played with them. Like I'd done gymnastics at an early age and stopped before I went to senior school in the UK, so stopped very early.
Yep.
So I didn't get to a high level or anything, but it was always playing on my hands. So I could walk on my hands. I could do like a crow sort of up into a handstand. So we'd do that in school play. But very ugly, and flexibility wasn't great. So I'd always play with those things. So when I became a trainer in 2000, I went through the normal bodybuilding type training, then pull check, and then into CrossFit.
Yep.
So that was that CrossFit time when that was starting to become big, and that's when I found that was around then that I started the handstand 365, and I discovered Edo.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very confusing time. I didn't know what I wanted to what I wanted to spend my time on personally from a training point of view, but also from a client point of view, like what should I be giving my clients and things. So I was doing the pull check stuff while training with Edo and while doing the handstands. So it was very confusing. It was.
So how have you felt that, like, now getting really also narrowed in on the arm balancing and the handstands? How does that benefit your clients now? Like, what are you finding is the number one? No, I guess not number one, but what is the biggest benefit that you see of very specifically practicing hand balancing?
So it started off as it was like a cool move that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But as I went in, so the whole check idea is to become balanced. So and even if you look at the bodybuilding type movements, it's you want to become balanced. You want to do biceps and triceps. So you balance out functionally. It's more to look.
Yeah, it's more for aesthetics.
As a bodybuilder. Yeah. But functionally, we also obviously want to do that as well.
Yeah.
And that's where handstands comes in massively, because you want to be able to have your body to work as one piece.
Yep.
And creating balance and being able to control your body and have the mobility to move around, but also to have the stability to create this one piece, and then know where your body is in time and space. And just from a meditation point of view, like I've got 5 kids, so life is crazy. And so when I go up into a handstand, it's like, oh, this is my quiet time. This is it's my stillness.
Yeah.
And to create efficiency in that position is massive.
Yeah.
And we used to do it with planks and that type of thing on the, when you're trying to make the body one piece, and core exercises.
It's easier to leave that and to start thinking about other stuff. And
Yeah. So then, I just got addicted to playing with the handstands daily, taking the handstand pictures, and then anything around handstands I was exploring. So I was researching hand balances, I was watching circus videos, I was traveling to learn from who I thought was the best in the world at hand balancing. And and the cool thing is it just never stops.
Yeah.
Like, I'm now looking up to people who are way, way better than me. And I've got so much work I want to do, and so that's cool.
That is something that I can really speak to. It's unbelievable how much it is just never ending. Like I'm like, you're one of the people that I look to, and I just I think what really excites me about this stuff is the fact that I know it's going to take me even 10 years to get to certain goals isn't discouraging. It's really exciting. And that's something that it's just like every time something new is unlocked, it's like the amount of doors that opens triples as far as the opportunities go. And it's addicting. That's where I got my name from.
I mean, I couldn't, before I started working towards the handstands and things, I struggled to sit in a resting squat.
Yeah.
I struggled to touch my toes. And I knew I needed to work on those things. I was a trainer, I was teaching corrective exercise, but I couldn't sit in a squat. But there wasn't enough drive for me just knowing that. Yeah. But now with the handstands, one of my first girls, my daughter, she's at the time was a gymnast, so she was doing shoulder presses.
Yeah.
So straddle press to handstands off the floor, and I couldn't even sit in straddle.
Yeah.
So she would be laughing at me as I'm trying to sit in straddle beside her. So using that as my driver, I wanted to get that. Yeah. I worked on my hip mobility, and I worked on my hamstrings and my tight hips.
Yeah.
And suddenly, I was feeling better, and functionally I could move better, but the driver was always the handstands.
Yeah. So the handstands, it served as your focus, or your kind of
your motivation even. And it's the same thing for me. Like then the number of things that come along with it when you have that goal or something to focus on. Like my inflexibility has improved tons, and when I think about it, it's not because of tons of intended practice on flexibility. It's just been from trying to get good at this controlled, like you said, controlled movement with handstands. That's just like had this like far transfer into all these other forms of fitness and health and flexibility, just from purely enjoying something. So that's really cool.
And that's carried over definitely with my clients as well. Like I've had clients who've come with back pain or hip pain or knee pain or whatever it is, and that still wasn't enough of a driver for them to work on their movement.
Yep.
But to have this this other goal, which is movement related, whether it's a muscle up or a handstand or whatever it is, suddenly it unlocks this more functional body and your aches and pains and symptoms start to decrease.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's not being driven by the pain; it's being driven by the passion for movement.
Yep. So positive reward, basically, over just like over a fear-based reaction. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, but with the daily practice, I soon found out, like when I was working with Ido, it was a very set program and we had these things to do. But on top of that, I was adding in, okay, I need to open my hips up, so I'm going to sit in a straddle position. Yeah. So in the evenings, I would sit there watching TV or working on my laptop with a cushion under my butt, and I'd sit and straddle for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's what's allowed me. So the exercises and the weighted stretching and all that type of stuff really helped.
Yep.
But on top of that, I was doing this extra daily practice,
yep.
which has now become the norm for me. So whenever I'm resting, I'm also doing something to do with my practice.
Yep, stretching or yeah. No, very cool. And that's the whole thing with daily practice. It becomes part of your life. It's not just something that you do twice a week. It is something that your daily habit and your routine kind of just forms around, just like people do all the time with bad habits. People let their days get consumed around bad habits, and it becomes easy. So that's something that the bodyweight movements definitely, they can just become a part of your daily habits because all you need is your body. So that's something that is really beneficial about it. So do you think that you'll just what are you working towards right now as far as arm balancing goes? Like, are you just consistency with the one arm or?
Well, with the, originally when I first started the handstand 365, it was just, I had in my head, I just wanted to take a picture in a handstand.
Yeah.
And initially it got more about doing a handstand in cool locations.
Yeah.
So I'd go around Perth and, do a handstand in the famous landmarks. And it was more like just doing a handstand.
Yeah, it's
and
like
if you look right back on my Instagram, you'll see that my handstands were legs apart, my knees were bent, I had a banana position.
Yeah.
But in my head then it was a handstand. That's all I was trying to do.
Yeah.
I told myself I didn't need to have pointed toes because I wasn't a gymnast. And as I got further down the path, I realized how important it was to have the locked knees and the pointed toes and the better line. Because that opened up more possibilities with the arm balances.
Mm-hmm.
So I done 2 back-to-back handstand 365. So I done 2 years posting pictures daily,
mm-hmm.
And I didn't miss a day. And then I had a rest from doing a handstand 365, but I was still posting daily pictures.
Okay.
So I've always used the Instagram and used that as accountability and marketing as well for like my business, but. I like the accountability. It was my, I wanted to post every day. And so I'm now day 270 odd of handstand, one arm handstand 365.
Yep.
So with this one, I've been posting recently a picture plus a video every day. And the goal is that I won't post a position in a one arm that I can't hold for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So I've upped the accountability now to not just, quick take a picture, I'm going to take a screenshot. Yeah. It looks like I'm in a one-arm handstand, which is what I was doing when I first started. So now I've put a lot more pressure on myself and said, I can only post a picture that I can hold for 10 seconds.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one.
And obviously, like, people are commenting and saying, where's my left arm? But I'm training my left arm, but because it's not consistent 10 seconds yet, I'm not posting any pictures.
Well, yeah, so, and that's it speaks to your like being authentic, and that's funny. Where's your left arm? I love people's like people make me laugh.
And what that's done is that forcing me to get this 10-second hold on my right arm whenever I post a picture. So there's that accountability, and also what I've noticed, and like it's part of my training as well. But when I teach a class or when I'm demonstrating to my clients, I kick up into a 2-arm handstand and I don't ever miss. Like 100% of the time I'm kicking up. So when I'm demonstrating a handstand position or a shape or a press, I'm hitting them 100% of the time. And I think that's really important as a teacher, that you can demonstrate and show control in any movement.
Definitely.
And I think that the daily practice and that putting the pressure on myself to hold those 10 seconds, eventually we'll get to the point where I can do that on one arm.
Absolutely. It's a lot harder it can be a lot harder to quantify your progress with body weight practicing, because it's not like the weight room where you can see yourself adding on a 2 kilogram plate, or where you can see that increase, but you experience it. Like if you look at it on a timeline, you can really clearly see it, but it's harder to feel in a day-to-day way other than inconsistency. Like I'm completely self-taught, and the biggest thing that is just continuously going uphill for me is my consistency. When I first started, it was extremely hard, and now I feel like I'm like, and it's a random number, but I'm like 90% consistent. Like, and that's the only thing that I can really, really just see like immediately. Unlike when I used to go to the weight room, and I could see those numbers increasing.
Yeah, and especially when you get up to the stage of 1-arm handstands, if you're kicking up to a 2-arm handstand, you then have to then transition over the weight and go into a 1-arm handstand.
Yeah.
But if you have to kick up 5 times, every time to catch that 2-arm handstand before you go into a 1-arm handstand, suddenly you're doing 100 more repetitions than you need to do.
Yep.
So in terms of efficiency and having enough energy to put into the 1-arms, or if you're practicing a handstand push-up or whatever the movement is, if you have to kick up 5 or 6 times every time, you're just going to get tired. It's about, and I do that in my classes now. At whatever level people are, either you can do this up against the wall. If you set roughly where you think your standard is, and then say you're kicking up to the wall, you've got to kiss the wall every time with the feet. With both legs, and just do 10 kick-ups in a row and see how many out of 10 you kiss the wall. So you can rate yourself. And if you're doing freestanding, you say, okay, I'm going to kick up 10 times and see if I can hold for 2 to 3 seconds with a controlled, good position, and see how many you can get out of 10. Those type of things are really powerful, just to see where you're at.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point.
Everyone goes for that max hold, or yes, you can hold a 60 seconds, but if it took you 20 attempts, it's a little bit different than kicking up once and just holding that position. Yeah,
that's really cool. I'm gonna give that a shot and see what my ratios are. I'll let you know.
Yeah, you can do it with all your movements. And I want to get to the point with my 1-arms. Like on the canes, I can normally jump up on my right arm and hold a 1-arm straight away. But it's definitely not there on the floor and the blocks to the consistency that I'd like. So in terms of my goals, that's like the number one is I want to be able to demonstrate a 1-arm handstand cold at any time.
Cool.
And the people I'm looking up to, and they're able to do that.
No, that's an awesome goal.
And then there's obviously different shapes in the 1-arm, presses in 1-arm. I really like the figure position. Are you familiar with the figure?
What does it look like?
It's like an upside down straddle position with the hand between the legs.
It's a really cool looking one. I thought I've seen. Do you have a photo doing that? I've been seeing that around a lot lately on Instagram.
No, when I went to Thailand with Yuval for a week recently, So his advanced handstand training, and there's a picture of him in the figure and me beside him.
Okay.
And my goal is that next time I meet him, I want to do a figure beside him.
I'm sure you will.
That's a goal. And like I could keep listing endless hand balancing goals. I've started playing with headstands a little bit more recently, so head balancing. I'm intrigued by that, and Yuval is my coach at the moment. Yuval on hands.
Oh, cool.
And from what I've seen from him, what he's been speaking about is the carryover from the head balancing to the one-arm handstand in terms of the control with the hips is very powerful.
Oh, that's really interesting, and that makes sense. Because I've been trying to get a no-hand headstand, and that's always where I feel it. Like I'm up on my individual fingertips, and I can sometimes maybe get one hand off, but I always feel it in like my hip flexors, in my hips, as that's where my stability point is. Like that's where the point of weakness is.
Yeah. So I mean that's another one similar to the mobility that I want to get better at handstands, and I've found that the head balancing can help me with that. So now I'm getting intrigued and want to start a head balancing, but it's always driven by for me it's always driven by the hand balancing.
Yeah. Very cool. So you found your passion. You found like what really fuels you, and if people can find that, and I think everybody has it for something, you can really benefit so many parts of your life through just throwing yourself into that, whatever it is that you really enjoy and what motivates you. I think a lot of the things that motivate me are very similar to what motivates you, and it's really awesome for me to be able to talk with you, who is farther down the line as far as learning this goes, and just to see that passion is very much so alive and even stronger. And I think that's what a lot of people have when they do their first headstand, is just that feeling of holy shit, I can do something I could never do before, and oh my god, I could probably do this with a lot more things than just this.
Yeah, and what's cool is I had quite a few people start the last handstand 365 that I'm doing now. I had 20 to 30 people started with me. Yeah. So I put it out there that I was going to start it, and from around the world, so through Instagram, and some of my clients as well started the handstand 365.
Yeah.
And there's probably around 10, maybe just over 10 people still going.
That's awesome.
So some of them tag me in their Instagram pictures, or they just use the hashtag handstand365.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see them progress. And in some ways it's a little bit easier for me because I work in this environment. So it's not weird for me to every 10 minutes to jump up into a handstand, and I'm practicing with my clients. But what's really cool is to see that, female client who's got kids, who's got an office job, who's doing the handstand 365 and is making amazing progress. That's really cool to see as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're doing amazing work. And the next one that you start in 100 days or whenever it is, I'll do that one. I'll join in on the group of people that do it. Send me a message when it's starting, and I'll post it every day. I've been seeing it for years. And that's the one I've never, I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but I've never done a single competition. And it's not because I don't think that they're great. I think that they are great. It's just that a lot of the time it's just I just want to do what I want to do every day and not be a lot of the yoga competitions are very much so just around a particular pose and not so much a full movement. But the handstand 365 has always been one that I've been I could totally do that because I can do whatever as long as it's a handstand. So I'm doing it.
You could call it inversion 365.
Yeah.
If you want to include, I actually changed the second one I'd done, and this is when I was working closely with Ido. I changed to movement 365.
Yeah.
So I was posting a movement every day instead of a handstand.
Yeah.
But soon realized that my real passion was the handstands.
Handstands, yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Start today. Like, everyone should just start doing inversions and believe you can do it. It's the big thing.
Love it. Great.
So guys, if you liked that, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment with any feedback. Thank you, Paul. You're awesome. I'll be linking all of his information below so you guys can check out his Instagram. He's an amazing hand balancer. Definitely worth looking into. And I'll see you guys next time. My next video is going to be a flexibility video where I'm going to be sharing everything that I'm doing to work on flexibility for inversions. So yeah, I'm really excited to share that with you guys. Thank you for watching, and I love you. Have a beautiful day. You're beautiful.